This is Cassandra Jolliffe with Cassandra Jolliffe Live, and I have got to give my girl a shout out. I'm so proud of you, Angela. You did it. You launched your show, and now you're at 100 episodes. OMG, my goodness. I'm so godly proud of you. Listen, Angela, you are going to the networks, so get ready. What you've done these past 100 episodes is absolutely stellar. And there's so much more waiting for you on the other side of 100. Once again, congratulations. 100, OMG.
Hey, Keith L. Brown, Mr. Impossible here, wishing my beloved sister and dear friend, awesome advocating actress, Angela Ray, congratulations on 100 episodes of your show. GOODJOB, good job, good job. You are a ray of excellence.
Hey, this is Clarence, babysitters from the All My Children, Bold and the Beautiful, It's Your World, Young and the Restless update. I talk about soaps. But today I want to congratulate the beautiful, vivacious, wonderful lady, Angela Ray, on her 100th episode. Congrats, darling. Keep doing what you do. You stomp down, Delta U.
Hey, a little birdie told me that today is Angela Ray's 100th show for the Angela Ray Show. I think that's quite an accomplishment, Angela. Just congratulations. You're such a go-getter. I love you so much. I hope you have a great show today.
Good evening and welcome to the Angela Ray Show. We're taking a look back at about a month or so ago when we celebrated 100 episodes of the Angela Ray Show. If this is your first time here, welcome. For those of you who will be joining the broadcast live on tonight, thank you so much for hanging out. If you will be catching the replay on tonight, make sure as you are going through the comments, woo, got a little tickle there. Make sure as you are going through the comments, you create a little hashtag for me, hashtag replay, so that I know to shout you out and that you are catching tonight's episode on the replay. As we do every single week, we are going to start off with our Ray of Motivation moment. And for tonight's Ray of Motivation moment, I'm going to share a quote with you from the trendy socialite, Adia Rogers, who says, "You don't have to be perfect in order to be effective. You don't have to be perfect in order to be effective." This is something that I know that I have been challenged with throughout my life. A few years ago, actually almost a decade ago, I started an awards ceremony called the Mahogany Dime Awards, recognizing African-American women throughout the state of North Carolina. And that first year, it was a little bumpy for me. It wasn't exactly, I didn't get to do everything that I wanted to do, but we got it done and we had people come. There was a ceremony, there was a reception, there was music. And I did not realize in those 8-9 years that we produced that ceremony how impactful it was until about a month ago when I was cleaning out a closet and I came across a bin of videos and DVDs and programs and congratulations and sponsors and all kind of letters that were a result of doing this, what I called a little awards program that really grew to be something special. And so for those of you who may be thinking that you want to step out and do something different, especially in this time of pandemic pivots, just know that you don't have to have every I dotted and every T crossed in order to walk into your passion, walk into your mission, and to be effective. And that is tonight's Ray of Motivation moment for this week's Angela Ray Show. Well, tonight I have the distinct pleasure of interviewing a poet, an author, and an educator. He is a national award-winning poet. He is a spoken word MC. He is also a producer. His book, One Man's Quest for Soul Redemption, actually inspired me to get off the bench and get in the game and do a little something with my poetry. So please help me welcome my very special guest for tonight, the poet, Tim Jackson. Tim, thank you so much for being on the Angela Ray Show tonight.
No doubt, no doubt. I appreciate you for inviting me. I'm honored to be here. I can't believe it. Angela Ray interviewing me on her own show. Wow.
Well, it had to be, Tim Jackson had me emceeing his own show, the world's greatest church service. I just came across that flyer not long ago. It was really hard to believe how long ago that was. It was like in 2009. So it's about time to dust off that script and to do it all over again.
Why not? Why not?
Tim, I first met you as an actor. You made your professional debut as an actor at the National Black Theater Festival. So did I. And, we kept in contact, and it was maybe a year or two later when I found out that you did poetry. What inspired you to start writing poetry?
Oh, man. I've pretty much been writing poetry my whole entire life. It's sometimes difficult to talk about, but I did grow up for the first 18 years of my life without a television in the house. So by me not having a television in the house, that was just something that wasn't believed in by my parents. So I was left with a lot of downtime to read and I guess write. And the creativity started real early. And I was just writing little verses and prose and didn't even know it was poetry and poems probably until I got in high school. So that's when I really knew I was a poet, probably about 8th, 9th grade.
And do you remember that first poem that you wrote?
Oh, man. I can't really say. I can tell you the first poem that I really remember writing and reading was in high school. I had a teacher, Miss Mayhope Wilkins, and she was my English teacher, and she actually gave more fuel to the fire, so to speak, by allowing me to use poetry as my way to express myself in her language arts class. And this was in I can't tell you how old I am, but it was a long time ago, before people were really tapping into gifts and talents as a way of expression inside of education. But she realized that I could use my poetry. So I remember maybe my 10th grade year, she had won Teacher of the Year in our region, and they gave her a celebration dinner, and I wrote a poem for her and performed it at that event. So that's like one of my first real memories of performing one of my own poems that I have written.
Okay. And I asked because, those first poems, if you were young, I know I was young. I wrote my first poem when I was in the 7th grade off of a dare. And okay. I still remember I just reconnected with the classmate. She does not know this either. She doesn't. I'm gonna have to inbox her one day and say, girl, I got a whole book of poetry, and it all started with you in Miss Patterson's 7th grade language arts class. But yeah, we were studying poetry, and Amy Pendergrass asked me if I could. She's like, do you know how to write a poem? I was like, yeah. It was like, I never wrote a poem, but I was like, yeah, I know how to write a poem. And she said, okay, well, write a poem about having a crush on a boy. And I was like, okay. So that's what I did. The poem was called I've Got a Crush on You. It will not be said tonight.
Why not?
Because we're not doing it.
What's his name?
Oh, it wasn't about anybody. See, you funny. You got jokes.
Hey, you had to have that inspiration from somewhere. And, I teach middle school. So, hey, I see the crushes going on in middle school.
Yeah, but it wasn't inspired by anybody. I promise you. It was just that the inspiration was, she said, write a poem about having a crush on a boy. So that's what I did. That was the inspiration. I had a job to do, and I did it, and I enjoyed the process. And that's what led to me writing additional poems. So, but if you want to go there about reciting poems, I don't know where this poem is of yours, but back in, we're not going to say the year because we're not telling anybody our age tonight.
Okay.
I remember you reciting a poem somewhere And I felt so strongly about it, I had to respond. So I wrote the little poem down, put my little stamp on it, and mailed it to your address. And I remember you calling me, say, I got your little poem. I'm going to respond to it. And, you know, that's been well over a decade. I still don't have no response to an independent Black woman's rebuttal.
Man, I did, but see, that whole story is like, your version of the story is kind of different than my version.
Tell me, okay, you know what? It's your world right now.
But it happens.
You got the floor. Tell me your version of that story, Tim.
It's not really a version of the story, but that happens to me a lot. It had happened to me a lot when I was performing poetry. My personal experiences, for some reason, became the next person's personal experience. So it's like I would say poems, and it's like when I say a poem, people felt like that was how I felt, or that's how I felt about them. And I guess I said a poem that kind of spoke how I felt about a particular woman at a particular time in my life, in a particular circumstance. And it felt like you took it upon yourself to defend her honor when she didn't deserve for her honor to be defended. So I just didn't even respond to it. You know, you jumped out to defend the honor of all Black women. And I was just kind of like, man, I was only talking about one circumstance. I know there's plenty of beautiful Black, independent, got it going on sisters out there, but let me have my moment on this one. And so I that's why I didn't respond, because it wasn't anything personal towards women, or personal towards women who chose the independent route. It was just my situation and the emotions and the emotional residue from that situation. It was just a vent, and it wasn't even bad, you know.
I don't even remember your poem, to be honest.
Exactly. But I remember your rebuttal.
Of course, I kept. You know what? That became a little what we call like our your little
signature piece.
It became a signature piece for about a year or two. It's like I did it. He was like, yes, and no one knew it was all inspired by you.
Well, it was better than my road dog and my big sis, my big little sister, Nietzsche Ward. She did a rebuttal to a poem that I spoke one time, and she went in on me defending something that, you know, I was like, wow. But that happened a lot in my poetry. You know, sometimes I would say things that would, I guess, cause people to reflect and think about things and then give their opinion. And I loved it. It was great to inspire other people to go inside themselves and figure out how they felt about things and kind of teach me. You know, I was kind of like in a bubble. I was kind of living my life in a vacuum. So to hear other people's opinion, and it gave me a better way of looking at my own situations. It gave me a chance to see other people's sides of the story. It gave me a chance to reflect on my own life, and it eventually becomes a part of your healing process.
Edwin says recite the poem. Nah, Edwin, we're not reciting that poem.
I think my poem was pretty much like, it could have been a letter to my ex. And
I already had a letter to my ex, but that wasn't it. That wasn't the one.
I didn't really have nothing else to say about anything. I wrote one poem ever about the male side of relationships. I only wrote one poem ever, really. And between you and Versatile, I couldn't win. So I kept writing to try to balance out that poem, but I think I sent the big dog at you. He handled it real well. I sent the stand-in to address that poem.
Who?
Don't worry about who it was, but you remember the person that addressed that poem and told you exactly what your independent woman rebuttal was really all about, and he gave it to you.
Okay, you have to tell me about that one later, because like I'm drawing, and that was so long ago.
But it was my brother. You know what I'm saying? And I put him on stage opposite you so he could tell you how he felt about your poem.
Who's in New Mexico now?
Of course. See, I know we know the same people. What are you talking about? You daggone right. Sadiq Abdallah, my big homie on the poetry scene who doing big things in New Mexico. And he's invited me out there to feature in New Mexico. So much love to him. Glad his name came up in the interview. But Sadiq addressed that poem, and he addressed every area and everything that you spoke on in that poem from a male perspective. So it won't nothing left for me to say.
I remember that, but that was many years after I sent
Oh,
you.
women don't never remember anything. That's why we don't even have to have a conversation. We know y'all don't remember anything. We know that.
Okay, this interview is going way left. Let's bring it back to the middle. Let's bring it back to the middle.
Yeah, your post was like, this is about fatherhood, relationships. Hey, we in there, you know. Plus I miss you. I miss being on stage with you. I miss seeing your face in the area. I miss seeing your work. So hey, I get to cut up with my homie. I'm all right with that.
No doubt. So the post is about fatherhood, and of course, you have really involved your kids in your art. And I remember my first time seeing you on stage with Ashe, and of course, the poem that she inspired, "I Got a Daughter Now." I mean, I really got a daughter now. Like that was your signature poem. Probably still is in some circles, even though is she in high school now?
Yeah, she's a junior in high school.
That's crazy. That is crazy to think about.
But the poem is for her lifetime. It's a poem that will stand the test of time for all fathers and all young girls if you definitely want I guess what I would consider a good virtuous young lady. And hey, everybody get to choose these days. So that's one thing I learned about the poem some 15 years later. The poem now can create a different type of discussion than it used to discuss. It was about the honor of fatherhood, but over time, I realized some 15 years later, the poem is no longer about a father's love for his daughter. I've been told now it's about a father taking the choice away from his daughter before she have a chance to even decide if she wants to be a daughter. So now I have to have that conversation when I say the poem, but I'm ready for the conversation. I'm a Black man, always have been, always will be. So I'm gonna speak to my daughter as a Black man, and she's opposite that, period. She's a Black woman.
Yeah, I was not aware of that. So,
oh yeah,
but in these different times, I could see that.
Oh yeah, the poem has. I kind of even put the poem to the side for a little while, and my daughter was actually the one who told me she believed in it and she loves it, and it helped carry her through. So that's why I still say it, and that's why I still do it. You know, people can have their opinions, but the world is really different now. The world is changing right in front of our faces, but some things are going to stay the same. Our creator is going to be the same. Our faith, whatever you choose to believe in, it's going to always stick. You know, you're not going to find too many words of wisdom that's going to change and will stand the test of time. But there are some words out there, there's some wisdom out there that stands the test of time. And I Got a Daughter Now in that group. Oh, yeah.
Well, we got a question from one of our very loyal viewers here at the Angela Ray Show. Edwin says, since you work with children and talk about the subject of manhood, our young people 30 and under are seeing and engaging in non-traditional roles regarding gender and sexuality. How do you address this complex issue?
Oh, man. That's a real good question, because each child is different, is what I notice in the school system. And their influence to how they develop their way of thinking is a major part of how they became into these thought processes of engaging in non-traditional things. And it's a very touchy subject. And the way I deal with it, first and foremost, is by building a relationship with the children I work with. You can't get nowhere if they don't trust you enough based on the relationship you build with them. So even now, we started school for probably like 2 weeks ago now. We're in our second week, and I still haven't pulled out lesson plans because I want to know who I'm working with before I even start to teach them. But the way I deal with it is I navigate those waters very, very carefully, because you can make or break young people with your opinion. Um, they're not really listening, and a lot of their influences are external. So when you become an external influence, you have to listen pretty much to all their other influences and try to figure out how to slide your influence in, because you're new to them. If you come in with a message of any kind of tradition or any kind of things that you've known and learned from your own life, so you just navigate carefully. You speak to those that trust you enough to speak about certain things, and then you approach it how they approach you. And because young people that I work with are in their preteen and teenage years, um, I have that opportunity to catch them if I listen to them. So the first thing I have to do is listen to them, develop that relationship, get them to trust me, and let them talk to me. And then I walk them through my life. I walk them through the lives of my ancestors, some of their ancestors, and all our ancestors collectively. And I put in front of them another choice. And then I try to teach them how to critically think about things and how to critically think about the choices that they're making. And as long as I get my choice in front of them, at least 50% of the battle of trying to change the mind of a young person is half won. The rest is up to them. I just need to get my information to them inside of a listening ear, and they have another choice that they can make. And I try not to force anything on them. I try not to tell them right from wrong. I tell them how to think. I try to teach them how to think. They don't know how to think. And once you learn how to think, then you learn how your mind works. Then you learn how to have self-control over your mind. So it's a process, man. And even for myself, I turn 50 next month, and I'm still learning how to be a better person. So it's hard to just go and teach somebody how to be a better person if they've been influenced how to be how they are already. Hopefully that kind of like skirted around the outskirts of that question, because as an educator, I have to navigate carefully because they can take away my opportunity to be in front of those kids in the blink of an eye. So I always have to be careful how I approach it. And that's why when you're an educator or you're working with young people, you have to listen to the young person first, because if you don't, you can set yourself up to be taken from out of in front of them. And that's the last thing I want. I got to keep my opportunity to stay in front of them in this counsel culture, because I can get counseled easily. Matter of fact, I was getting counseled before counsel culture even started. So now that I've been given some second chance opportunities, I definitely try to navigate those waters carefully. But the best way, and always going to be the best way, is to model the behavior you want to see. Because if you model the behavior, they can't say they didn't know, because they've seen it with their own eyes. So I try to model good fatherhood. I try to raise my daughter to be a nice young woman, try to raise my son to be a nice young Black king, hopefully headed towards God's status. And so we walk like that, we talk like that, we live our lives like that. And what they see is what they're going to be, period. Most young people are being what they have already seen. And it's not enough strong people that's not afraid to get out there and walk the walk that they talk. So I walk it as much as I talk it. And that helps and goes a long way, because one thing a young person can understand quickly is a hypocrite.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. So you are heavy into educating now. You're still doing your poetry. Still, you were out in New Mexico. You performed in the last few years at Women's Empowerment, one of the biggest women's event in North Carolina.
Oh, yeah.
what I would say maybe the top 2 to 3, because I won't say like the top 1. What are maybe your top 3 poetry experiences?
Oh man. My top poetry experience is One Man's Quest for Soul Redemption. And really because that council culture that was going on inside of poetry was a very cliquish thing when I first started doing poetry and spoken word. It was very cliquish. And if you didn't fall in line, sometimes they'll keep the microphone from you. So because I felt like the microphone was being kept from me, it's still being kept from me in this area, but I made sure that I was able to produce something where I allow my gift to be seen. And so because I went inside myself, I wrote a whole one-man spoken word show. And then I was able to even invite others to be a part of it to enhance what I do and give them an opportunity to show what they do. It's like that's my greatest accomplishment as a poet. That and then performing at probably the inaugural Black Theater Festival, Midnight Poetry Jam is big on my list of favorite things to do. And I did a show was you on that? I think you was on that show too in 2002. I did a show with Miss Angela Brown. I want to say that's her name. You remember Angela Brown? Angela Brown invited us to like Baltimore, Maryland for these auditions, and we auditioned for this show that ended up being called The Kings and Queens of Poetry in 2002.
I remember that, but I didn't go. I do remember that.
Okay, in DC, man, I met like bomb poets from all over. Some of the poets that I met in 2002, we are still friends to this day. I've seen poets from that stage that are now married and together. And that stage was like a blessing in poetry for me because when I auditioned at the time, I was kind of just frustrated with how things were going. And so I auditioned for that and I actually made it. And me and my bro, 13 of Nazareth, were picked to be the kings of that show. So we were the finale of that particular show. So that was like a big moment. And that's the show that inspired me to write my own show, One Man's Quest for Soul Redemption. And, you know, some of the bigger stages, but there's no stage at that time that was like the Black theater stage when all your actors and actresses that we get to see and love on television, movies, and theater are all in one room. And it's just a different kind of thunderous applause, and it's just a different kind of appreciation for your art. So being able to share my poetry at the National Black Theater Festival is always big. When they come back and they do Midnight Poetry Jam, I'm gonna slide through for old time's sakes as always. So that's big for me. And you know, just being able to do poetry and just being able to do it, just being able to share my gift and have interviews because of the gift and stuff like that. Every day, I'm still thankful and grateful and blessed that I actually went to the microphone and said a poem because it changed my life. And so everything I've done as a poet has been a blessing. But if I had to name the top 3, those 3 will fall right up there. They'll fall. It'll be like a LeBron, Michael Jordan debate. You know, trying to figure out what I
gotta
love.
slide in Kobe. You gotta slide in Kobe too.
Hey, you know what I'm saying? Magic Johnson. I got like some Magic Johnson moments. I got some Larry Bird moments. I got a Kareem hook shot moment. You know, I performed a lot of places. Performing in New York was great. Having Sadiq out in New Mexico. Sadiq was the first poet to like fly me somewhere and pay for a room and put money in my pocket and send me back on the road. He's like the only and first ever poet to do that for me. You know, everywhere I go on pennies and gas and, you know, and they say our budget tight. But Sadiq Abdallah in New Mexico flew me out, laid out a nice room for me, had nice queens and kings around to host and show me around. That was like that was so dope. And I wish more people knew about it when I came, but Albuquerque was dope. I got played on the radio in Albuquerque. I did an interview in Albuquerque. So it's just been a lot of moments as a poet. And, but I think being in education is a direct result of doing spoken word and poetry. So actually to become a teacher, and this is my first year as a teacher. I've been a long-term sub for a while, for a long time. So this is my first year teaching. And of course, as a poet, to be able to teach language arts and teach language arts and humanities in middle school is like, that's the biggest thing poetry ever done for me, all by itself, you know. That is a direct result of me being invited to a middle school this summer to do a spoken word program during their summer learning. And from there, I had people from the district come and recommend me for this position just because of hearing that I was a spoken word artist. So they came and checked me out, and they came and visited and had conversations with me. And then they recommended me to be teaching at a Lowe's Road Middle School, where they had struggling students, and felt like I could be a part of the rebuild process. And I don't think there's no greater honor than to be put in front of young people and have people that's been educating for years and years and years see something in you and want to put you in front of a body of students. So that's like what poetry does for me. And that would have to be number one. You know, it would have to be. That's the Michael Jordan of it all. Poetry got me a teaching gig. And state benefits, I'm just playing.
We love those bennies. We love those bennies. Now, I know spoken word is your first love.
Right.
But acting is your side chick.
No
so
doubt.
how would you describe some of those top acting moments for you?
Oh man, meeting you in the batata, you know. Oh,
nobody knows what that is. Nobody knows.
But man, like that's my I've been acting, you know, like everybody else since the church plays and the Christmas plays and the school plays. But as a young adult, I was in Winston-Salem at Winston-Salem State University when the Black Theater Festival was first coming to life. And it was a group of cats there. Wausa Baraka was one. That's my homie, but he was at Winston-Salem State, but it was a group of us that was into like dancing and acting and trying to be a part of stuff. And like these two dudes I never remember, Brandon and York. The North Carolina School of the Arts was right down the street from Winston-Salem State. And at the time, like Jada Pinkett and people like that were there, and they were hanging out with us at Winston-Salem State and all this stuff. So these cats say, you know what? We're going to stop playing around and we're going to go to school over there. So it was like a little group, and I was in the group, but they transferred, right? Out of fear and doubt, I didn't. So that was my first misstep. And I kind of left it alone until I said a poem. But at the same time, I was saying I need to tap into my talents and gift. I seen this audition. It said audition in Raleigh, such and such theater. We're going to the National Black Theater Festival. Come see what you can do.
HLJTCA, that's what it was.
I said, wow, I'm going to go check this audition out. It's off of Lake Willow Road. No, it wasn't. It was off of Sunnybrook. What was the name of the road? Rock Quarry.
Rock Quarry.
It was off of Rock Quarry. I said, man, it's way out there. I said, but I'm going to go. I had this love for acting still burning, and I went to this audition. And he said, yo, man, you got it. He said, you the man. I said, all right. So he picked me to be in this performance. And, you know, through the rehearsals, I was able to meet you. You know, you was a part of this performance. I met some actors, and everybody was excited, enthusiastic about doing this particular show. And that is like one of my best moments because it reignited the actual fire. It was for me. Some of you guys were professional at the time, so I understand a lot. But at the time, it was new to me, and it was like one of my greatest experiences to be able to be a part of that show. It gave us like backstage passes, and you know, we were able to navigate around the festival and meet people and talk to people. and be a part of the festival for the first time from an insider point of view. And if you make it to the stage at the National Black Theater Festival, no matter what kind of show it is, no matter what level it is, if it's the biggest show that's highlighting the whole festival, or if it's the smallest show that somebody got in by the skin of their teeth, if you make it to that stage, man, you have been somewhere a lot of people never made it to, and a lot of people desire to get to. So that's my biggest moment, and it made me want to act again. And I started auditioning again. I've been in a couple plays. I remember, was I in Loved Ones? I think I was. It was a play going around town one time called Loved Ones, but I think the director and casting director didn't really want me in the play, so I never.
You did not audition for that play. And for those of you who don't know what the inside little stab is, I wrote and directed Loved Ones. So you did not audition for Loved Ones. Okay, don't even try that.
I think that I did audition for Loved Ones, and I didn't get a call back from the casting director. That's what I really think, man. Because I was like, "What's up? I can't be in your show." But but it's another young lady that was out in Raleigh doing plays. So I was being in people plays that they were doing, and I was auditioning for movies, but I was getting movie parts, right? But I always would put my kids first. I had my kids unexpectedly. I love them, you know what I'm saying? I never knew I was gonna have kids, but they came, and I was like, wow. So my kids was young. Mom had this crazy work schedule, like between school and being a nurse and all this stuff. So a lot of the responsibility of raising the kids in their early years was kind of on me, due to scheduling. And so I would always have to be like, oh man, I can't be there for like 3-4 days. I got to get back, you know? So I couldn't really pursue it like I wanted to when that hunger was there. But whether you know it or not, I got an audition for a movie. It's an independent film in Raleigh that's going down. I ain't gonna talk about it until I get a part, you know what I'm saying? But there's a movie going on in Raleigh right now that I'm gonna go and audition for on September 11th, 9/11. That's one of my greatest poems too about 9/11. But on 9/11, there's an audition going on in Raleigh, and I'm gonna go to that audition and try to get a part in this movie, even as an extra, just to be around the scene again, because I got ideas for movies that I want to shoot. So before I do anything, I want to put myself back in that environment, put myself back around that energy, and get myself back kind of in that mindset. So if it's anything going on in Atlanta, because I seen you in a couple movies and a couple things, and so hey, slide my name to some people. I know you know some people.
We got a question from Edwin again.
Edwin Evans is going in.
If you could talk to your 18-year-old self, what 3 things would you tell yourself?
Oh man, education is not a joke. You know what I'm saying? When you 18 and you about to go to college, the first thing you need to know is that your future is in your hands, man. Whatever you doing right now is making your future. And so I would tell my 18-year-old self, start preparation for tomorrow today. Like, that's the biggest thing, because tomorrow comes quick. I tell my 18-year-old self to make sure that you get yourself together and make sure that you are on a path to having the things that you want out of life through goal setting and vision making and all that stuff, man. I would get tired trying to tell my 18-year-old self 3 things, Mr. Evans. Man, do you know how much I was doing between 18 and like 35? I need to go and tell my 35-year-old self some stuff. Golly, 18, man, prepare. Money come hard and it go quick. Save your money. And, got to slide a couple jewels about how you got to avoid
Honda Accords that are burgundy?
Yeah, Honda Accords that are burgundy. We'll just say it like that. You just got to avoid your nemesis and your vices and approach women with love and respect. I think my biggest things at 18-year-old was I was just irresponsible and immature. I knew right from wrong. I knew what to do. I just chose not to do it. You know what I'm saying? That's my parents back there. That's a part of my ancestral altar. Man, they taught me the real deal. So everything that I did after 18, I really had no excuse for it. I remember when I got in trouble, and I was 22 when I got in trouble. That's why I didn't graduate from Winston-Salem State like I was supposed to the first time around. So when I got in trouble, and my dad came to court, and the judge did his thing. You knew what you were facing and stuff, and you knew what was going on. So the judge asked my dad. He said, well, the judge asked, was there anybody that was there to speak on behalf of the kids? And my daddy said, I got something to say. And my daddy, you gotta kind of straighten up when he stand up, because he about to say something that's gonna blow your mind. And if you don't think he blew my mind that day, what he told the judge was, he said, look, I did not know my son was up here involved in all of this and doing all of this. I did not raise him like that. I sent him up here to get an education, and to find out this is what he was doing, you're going to have to do with him what you want to. That's what my dad stood up in court and said. So to go back and talk to my 18-year-old self would be like deja vu, repeating things that I already knew at 18. And I would just have to tell my 18-year-old self, you better weigh your choices out, and you better make the right choices, because you already know. I already knew at 18. And I just went off into life. I'm from the country. I'm from this little small town. It might be like 2,000 people there when I was growing up. And when I got to college, oh my goodness. So I'm that guy. I'm that guy that came in from the country, and being in college, it kind of blew my mind for a little while. And so it took me a minute to get back grounded. So I just tell my 18-year-old self, stay grounded, man. You know what your parents taught you. Go out there and do right. Yeah. Everything else is excuses. I knew at 18. Yeah.
All right. Well, as we wrap up, I don't know.
We're wrapping up. What kind of show is this? Man, I thought it was like a 4-hour show. Man, it's over.
We are about to wrap up.
I
can talk for a long time, but people don't want to watch for no 4-hour show. But
and that's the point. People be watching some mess. You know what I'm saying? If we want them to watch, we can do Wild Out. Let's do Kick Them Out the Classroom right quick.
I don't even know what that is. Okay, I have no idea what that is.
I like Wilding Out, but it's like people be watching some stuff, man. Sometimes even if you post a video, if you post this video, I'm gonna watch this video, and you know how you scroll up and they got a whole list of stuff coming next. You'll sit there and you'll be watching video after video after video. If you're not careful, I see people do that. But I know they're only watching what went viral. You know what I'm saying? So that's what people need to do. They need to watch and talk and listen and chill. Invite some more people in the stream. Let's have a whole round table build session. What's the name? Mr. Evans ain't got to keep typing and asking questions. Invite him into the room. Let's have a ball. Everybody talk, No, I'm just... Man,
do you have anything coming up that you want the people to know about? Any upcoming performances or anything on the horizon?
My 50th birthday is coming up. It should be declared a national holiday. And I want to have like the biggest event. And I got people on tap. But because of this COVID situation, I don't know if I'm going to be able to celebrate my birthday like I want to. I got shows and show ideas that I want to do, but I know my audience. And my audience is kind of a very responsible, very mature audience. And sometimes it's hard for me to just put out there that I want to do something and ask them, quote unquote, to put their life on the line to just come and see me perform. I'm thinking of ways to do things digitally. and do maybe a movie or two or something that people can stay within their own comfort zones right now. Because everybody's comfort zone has changed. You know what I'm saying? I'm not even big on going out and seeing a whole bunch of stuff live and direct if right precautions ain't taken. So I don't have anything on deck, but I have a new group of young people that I'm working with. We've started a performance arts club. So that's my focus right now. I'm gonna try to get them to bring something to life and bring to the stage to take to elementary schools. So I want my middle school students to be, as first they're going back to R.N. Harris, the elementary school that gave me my chance in education. So the old girls, I want a clubhouse.
I know, right? You know what? I downloaded the app, but I haven't really been active.
I can see. I'm saying I can't keep up. I know what she's talking about, but I didn't see it. But I know that they got these places where people be talking. But I don't get to talk to you. You need to call me sometime, man. I feel like we on the phone. I don't feel like we in an interview. You know what I'm saying?
We just talked the other day. We just talked last week.
I know, but I feel like it was a setup for this interview. You didn't even say that you was doing a show. You could have told me, like, yo, I could. Look, that's what I'm saying. I didn't know.
It's all good. It's all good.
You was talking about the greatest church service ever. Like, that's a show that I think that I kind of want to do again. I feel like Kanye West took that from me with his Sunday service, but the greatest church service ever, I like to slide it out there since he released the album and stuff. But I think he's took the Sunday service from the greatest church service ever. But the greatest church service ever, I would love to do that again because I think that we just need a good faith moment. You know what I'm saying? We just need a good faith moment. I saw in Winston-Salem today, 15-year-olds shooting at school, you know, and stuff like that. And it's like we just need a good, some good energy released into the universe. And so I'm thinking about doing a very faith-based performance where try to get people that carry that good God energy through their gifts and talents and get them to bellow some stuff out into the universe, man. We need that, you know. So
we need more books like this. The original. I got the original one. You probably don't even have this.
That might be a poster. That's not a book. I need
Tell
that.
me it's not a book.
I'll buy it from you.
Yeah. It's not even autographed, Tim.
Let me have it.
A book from you and it's not even autographed.
Let me have it.
It's not even autographed. How you not autograph my book though?
Because I didn't. Let me see that. Let me see that. I forgot that book. Let me have that book.
Is this really going on right now? Online?
I guarantee you, if I go through my stuff, I'll find something of Angela Ray's that Angela Ray don't have. We can do a trade.
We'll see. This might be worth some money because it's not autographed. It's in very good condition. This is the original. I remember how you put.
I can't believe this. I designed that book cover myself. I don't even have it. But you know what? You know what I do have? I do have the original inside copy of that book. And I can find that cover. Let me see that cover again. I can recreate that cover because I still got that picture. That's the one man.
That's why I wore what I wore. I said I wanted to match the book cover tonight.
Oh man, I can't believe you got that book. I knew it was gonna be something. You always got something up your sleeve. I can't believe you got that book. I can't believe that. I forgot that book even exists. It's okay. Hold on. I trade you the new one. You got a new one?
No, I don't.
Okay, I'm gonna see. Hold on. I gotta walk off camera.
So we're on live, and he just told me, hold on. So for those of you who are just tuning into the Angela Ray Show, tonight's guest is poet, author, actor, producer, and educator Tim Jackson. He has been working in poetry, spoken word for over 15 years. I had to feel that. I like mine. This is the original. This the original.
I give you this one for it.
Nah, I keep my book. It's original. Like I said, it's not even signed. I don't even remember when I got it from you.
All about black women. Catching feelings. Yeah, you can get that. You see me out there fishing?
Okay. We might see what we can do. Like I said, I just came across my big poster from thoughts from the greatest church service ever, and I can't pull it down on the wall, but on the wall I'm looking at a picture of you, Patrick Smith, myself, and Melissa Wade at
Patrick
the
Smith?
gala. Yeah, you remember the gala from the National Black Theater Festival?
Man, you're not right. You're not right. See, I don't have. See, that's what I'm saying. I don't have no. I was so frustrated as an artist and as a performer, man. I can't believe that you got this stuff, but it's okay. It's okay as long as you got it. I got access to it. We'll make you see what I'm saying, Ty? You see what I'm saying? I don't even have it no more, man.
It's all good though. It's all
I'm gonna
good.
recreate. You know what? Those books like that, they on hard drives. They on like floppy disk drives.
You can still access them. You can get adapters. You know, you can still access that stuff.
Okay. That's Crown King right there.
Okay, so I was like, I don't know Ty, but I do know Crown King. That's crazy how some people, I don't know them by their government, but I know their poet name.
Yeah, that's Crown King right there. And Crown King is like one of the most supportive guys. I would, if you post something, he's gonna show up. So I appreciate you coming through, Crown. There's some lurkers out there too. They might got fake names and stuff. There's some lurkers out there.
You're funny. You're funny. Well, Tim Jackson.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, I was just saying your website is scrolling at the bottom of the screen.
You big time.
Poet, Tim Jackson.
You got a show going through. This is a big time interview. Oh man, the poet Tim Jackson on Instagram, and that's me. You all right? Yes.
No. I didn't even read that before I posted it. No. It's this time to go tonight.
Oh man, I enjoyed it though.
Yeah.
I totally enjoyed it.
Maybe we have to get together, and we've never done this before. I've done this. I think I've done it maybe with one or two poets, but we are overdue to create something together. Not just response, but to actually create something together. So we'll have to put it out there now for all of my viewers to hear that. Yeah.
Have you directed behind camera yet? Have you directed from behind the camera?
I have. I directed a short film about 3 years ago.
I'm gonna have to send you some treatments and see what you think. Okay. Got some ideas.
Okay.
Got some ideas for some treatments.
Exactly. So yeah, Edwin. Yeah, that was, and I know that's what those emojis were response to Edwin. Exactly. I didn't read the end of that.
Do I know Edwin?
I don't know. Edwin went to Carolina, but he's also originally from Fayetteville, so I'm not sure if you know him or not.
Okay, no, I'm in the house.
No doubt.
Okay.
No doubt.
You in the A, man. Big shout out to Abyss before I get off. I can't be doing interviews in Atlanta and don't give a shout out to Abyss and the cats that hang out and keep the scene hot in Atlanta. Red Storm, Black Ice, Sheba, all the good people in Atlanta. Oh man, the original, what's her name? Georgia Meade.
The original woman?
No, Georgia Meade. The original
Georgia Meade.
That holds it down in the A. Georgia Meade, Abyss. I just got to give them some love because I'm on the airwaves in Atlanta. So big shout out to the Atlanta poets that hold it down. I'm big time. I see the hair too. I'm big time. You big? I feel big time because I'm hanging out with you. Tell the people you've been in. Can I interview you right quick? What was it like to be in a Tyler Perry movie?
Really, this is what we doing.
I just asked, what was that like? What was that experience like? Does that rate as a high experience for you, or was that
absolutely.
Was it just another day's work for someone of your stature? I'm just trying to.
Here we go. I'm gonna answer this, and then we're gonna wrap up for tonight. But because you asked, and because you Tim, I will answer that. Yes, definitely a high point for a number of reasons. I didn't just get to meet Tyler Perry. I had met Tyler Perry before, which was great. I didn't work with him. But I also got to meet Medea, And that's a
Yeah.
whole other person. And I don't know if people understand that. Those are two different people.
Okay.
So to get to work with and interact with both was definitely cool. A lot of some of the flexibility you have working with Tyler Perry is ad-libbing, and I don't
Okay.
know, it's on the I don't know if it's on the DVD or not, but we had one version of that scene that I don't know if it made the outtakes, but it was hilarious.
Okay.
We just there was a prop that was missing, and so I just kept going till the prop showed up, and the prop never showed up, so I just kept going. We went way off the rails. I ad-libbed, he ad-libbed. I mean, we just kept going and going and going. So I would love to see that video on the outtakes. But yeah, that, and then it was the first time. It wasn't my first time being having a movie in a movie theater. I'd had a couple of those before, but
Right.
definitely not one on that level. I had an independent film that was in the movies, and my mom was there, and it's funny, there was a love scene, and she started covering up her face when this love scene. I was like, oh boy, here we go.
Wow.
And I had another one that was a limited release that I completely missed, but yes, to be able to share a movie like that not only opened up at #1 opening weekend, but it held over for a second weekend, which is not always the case for Tyler's movies, primarily because of the bootlegger. That's the bottom line. By the time it come out, the bootleggers, get a hold to it. But this one held on to #1 for 2 weeks in a row. So that all of that just made it a high point. And again, being in the theater, I had family, I had friends, yeah, all of that. And to be able to be in, where I got my start in Fayetteville, watching the movie with friends and family was cool.
That's what I always admired about you, though. You was always willing to go out, and shoot your shot. You was running to Wilmington every weekend. You was like, my agent called, I got an audition over here, and you was always in front of the camera, and it was inspirational. But I would always, me, I was always making excuses, but it might not be over. It might not be over. I'm on a Job story right now. I'm getting blessed in my latter years.
Okay,
You know what I'm saying? So I'm on my Job right now. Yeah.
That's what's up. And on that note, before the interview of me continues, I'm going to say thank you to the poet Tim Jackson for coming through, showing love for those of you who are watching, and even those of you who may be catching this on the replay. I think that you can tell that Tim and I have known each other for a number of years, and there probably were some things that probably didn't make sense to you all, but made complete sense to us because they're just totally inside jokes and inside things that we know from having done poetry together and plays together, and been in church together and traveled together, all kinds of stuff.
Get your batata da on, girl. I hear you. I hear that batata da. Man, people will be proud of you to see you right now. You know what I'm saying? You soaked in it all. You soaked it all in. You took that batata da, put it with that Carolina, and look at you now. You know what I'm saying?
So I gotta tell the folk, I won't call a name, but the da we work with someone who that was their favorite thing to say while we were in rehearsal. So it became this inside thing, when we said it, we all knew who we were talking about. So
hey, man, that was an amazing experience though. So it's all good.
Absolutely.
All good.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, again, Tim's website and his Instagram, scrolling at the bottom of the screen. Definitely reach out, connect with him. He is available both virtually and to do some things in person, whether those are workshops or performances. Of course, the holidays are coming up as well, as his schedule permits around being a full-time editor.
Yeah, somebody let me get back on the stage. Somebody invite me to the A. Wherever you online from, invite me out there. Invite me to your church, invite me to your school, invite me to an event. I'll spit a verse or two. Ain't no biggie. Your audience will be pleased. They'll enjoy. No doubt.
And you can actually see some of his work on his website. I was on your website earlier today. Is that Valanda Calloway dancing in the video?
Oh, no doubt.
Okay. I thought that's what it was.
Of course. That was like a big moment for me too. Valanda Calloway is one of those people that if you don't know Valanda Calloway, she's like a bomb newscasting, interviewing. You know, she got a lot of TV commercials around here. She was holding down University Forward, but now I think she's with Kia now. I don't want to say it wrong, but she got some car commercials. One commercial, she had her dad in it driving his Ford truck, you know, from back in the day, still owning it kind of commercial. And so she's doing a lot of commercials now, but you know, her thing was but at Winston-Salem State, when I was there in 1990, she was like one of the first people that I met in freshman orientation and stuff. She had a crew of her friends and my friends. You know how it is when you're freshman orientating and talking. So I met her, and I just knew a lot of good people during my Winston-Salem State years. Those are the best people in the world. But when I got in trouble, I felt so disconnected from like what I felt was like family of people. And when I did One Man's Quest in 2014, this is like all these years later, I hadn't really talked to people, might see them in passing, but I wanted her to dance. She's like an awesome dancer as well. So I wanted her to dance in my show. And I was like, I wonder if my friends from back in that day remember me enough to want to share their gift and talent with me. You know what I'm saying? So I shyly, you know, I was scared to death. I reached out to her on Facebook. And, you know, I know she know me, but oh man, she responded with so much enthusiasm and put herself with all her credentials and all the things that she has accomplished. I just felt like to have her in my show was like the biggest thing ever, to have my life come full circle like that, and for her to be a part of that 2014, and she performed again with me in 2017. It was just like just to have her embrace me and my talent and share her talent on the stage. That goes up, and that's in that Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, LeBron debate, because it was a full circle moment that told me, it's one of those moments where you realize God is real, or the creator is real, or universal energy is real, or however people want to put all of that into words for 2021. That stuff is real. There are forces that work behind us that we don't control, that bring things together in its perfect timing. And to have that happen was amazing. And Belonda is amazing. And so that was big for me. That was real big. It was personal and artistic. So it was big. It was real big.
You're jealous. Of course you will.
Oh Lord.
And shout out to PJ Bowen, to my store. I saw that comment. Thank you so much. And this is from Eunice. This is hilarious. You ready for that? Spell that, but da 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 da.
She did it though. She did it. But you did it. You did it. And it's like he be getting on us and trying to pull himself together and try to get us in places. And sometimes he just run out of words and be like, and just and then we're gonna and when we do this, we're gonna and you be like, man, what does that mean? What do you want me to really do? What are you saying? But once you hang out with him for a while, you understand the language and you fall right in place and you fall in line. So yeah, don't bring that back, please. And see, like I was talking about that universal energy, he's gonna show up.
Of course.
He's gonna show up.
Of course. I just had a conversation last Friday night, I think Thursday, Friday night, with someone who I didn't know knew him. So it's happening.
I brought up his daughter the other day, so it's like, oh my goodness, if that energy he's coming back. No doubt. She tries, she gonna get it.
I'm not even going to say. I have to tell you about the dream I had too. I have to catch you up on the dream I had. My dreams are have been so vivid lately.
I'm still a master dream interpreter.
Okay, all right. Yeah. So hang out backstage for just a moment. We're gonna wrap up here. But again, thank you, Tim, so much for being on the show tonight. Again,
I didn't get to say a poem.
Did you want to? I didn't know if you wanted to, because what did you tell me? I don't know. I don't know no poem. So I was like, okay, you don't have to say a poem, but go ahead.
But then I was like, I'm gonna go practice. I'm gonna
Go
go
bless
practice.
the people. Bless the people.
I ain't gonna bless the people. I just want to tell the people have a real nice night, man. I don't have nothing. I'm not gonna do a poem.
Really? Did you know what you sound like? You sound like the female
You know
who's
what
like,
poem I'm gonna do? I'm gonna do this poem right here. It's a real quick poem. I ain't gonna do the I got a daughter nails and stuff like that. Hopefully we'll do another
I know
one.
you was gonna do trying to get the guy before the devil get to me. That's
Man,
another one that was a signature poem of yours for so many years.
I'm gonna do this.
Okay,
I'm
we're ready.
gonna do 3 generations. All right.
Exactly, Eunice. Tim is a teaser. Exactly. You ain't gonna let me do no poem. I don't get to do no poem. Exactly, Eunice. Exactly.
I mean,
Go ahead, do the poem. Do the poem.
okay. No, I'm gonna do trying to get the guy before the devil get to me. Now, then I'm gonna put that down. Where Eunice at? Eunice in Durham.
No.
Okay. What? You know what? I'm not. I don't know. I could do.
One thought for the independent Black woman. That's what's in this book right here.
Let me read this poem I was gonna read. It's called 3 Generations, right? And I wrote this poem, and this is a poem that I'm gonna share with my kids at school. Like I told my man, I gotta kind of sneak this poem in, but it's just Eunice, this ain't even me performing. I can't really do it like that. But I'm gonna read something, and it's called 3 Generations, and it just speaks to a change in my life that I had to make. All right. So here we go. The more I saw my elders drink, the more I would drink. The more I saw my elders smoke, the more I would smoke. But the more I wrote. The more I see the younger generation drinking, the less I drink. The more I see the younger generation smoking, the less I smoke. But the more I write to change you, to change me, to change them. The more I saw my elders run through their women, the more I played. The more I saw the elders outside their homes, the more outside my home I stayed and I strayed. But the more I prayed and the more I wrote to change you, to change me, to change them. The more I see the younger generation run through young women, the less I play. The more I see the younger generation outside their homes getting in trouble, the more at home I stay and the more I pray to change you, to change me, to change them. I write and I pray and I pray and I write to change you, to change me, to change them. We need 3 generations of change. So don't put it all on the young people. We need 3 generations of change. All right.
Right.
And that's why I say modeling behavior is the key. We do what we see and not what we know. All right.
And is that in your latest book? What is that from? Because I don't have that in the original. It's not in the original.
This is the follow-up to the original, and it is I be trying to think of a new poem, and it is the introductory poem to a lot of things. But in this poem, let me see if I got it. You know what? One of my answers, well, no, because I let Sadiq handle you. I had another whole issue going on with Versatile in that particular moment in the show. So I think we address X's, and you and Sadiq address philosophies. So Sadiq held his own. I think you should have Sadiq on, and y'all should do that, and let me facilitate and introduce it, so I can give people a true understanding of what's about to go down. And then when Sadiq speak his piece to respond to your piece, after I tell the story before the pieces, then people will understand where you were coming from, and they'll understand where I was coming from. And they'll say to each his own. I don't really think that you had to really like put your foot on me for that poem. You know what I'm saying? You didn't really have to do that. That's why I said
was like a lifetime ago, though. It was a lifetime ago. Like I said,
but you still feel the same way. You still up there talking about I don't remember? That's typical women stuff. I don't remember, you know what I'm saying? I ain't wrong. I ain't say that. I ain't do that. You know what I'm saying? Sound like Steve Urkel. Did I do that? That's how women sound. Did I do that? Yeah, you did it.
Okay. And that poem, I was looking over it recently. It's so dated, like in terms of some of the terminology. I was looking, I was like, wow, this is definitely dated. But hey, that's how songs are. What is that song? Here's my number and a dime. Call me anytime. You can't call nobody with a dime no more. Their kids don't even know what that means. What do you mean a dime? What do I need with a dime to call you? They don't understand. So, I leave the poem where it's at. Leave it there in the 90s where it was created.
Everything I have written will stand the test of time. It's gonna be here, just like the Bible. See, there goes CJ. Yeah, CJ, we're gonna get him. I'm gonna get him back on stage. They don't know how we discuss relationships in 2003 on the stage, man. If people had to listen to us on that stage in 2003, it would be less divorces. It'd be less people breaking up. It'd have been people like, wow, I never thought about it like that. I understand, as black men and black women, we understand each other a little bit better. But, hey, those who know, and those who don't. They don't know.
Kim Jackson.
Yes, ma'am.
I'll see you backstage in just a moment. But again, thank you so much for coming to hang out, and I appreciate you. We'll probably have to bring you back again when maybe I'll do a series with a few poets, a round table with some poets, and
have an open mic one Wednesday.
Oh boy. Okay. I'll think about that. I think about it. All right. Have a good night. I'll talk to you soon.
Peace.
All right. That is it for this Wednesday's edition of the Angela Ray Show. As always, I would like to remind you all of Ray of Motivation number 54. Cleaning a mirror cannot change the person who is reflected in it. Until next time, I encourage you all to go out and be the change. Until next week, have a great evening.